why it's difficult to forgive others is because we simply can't forgive ourselves for all the times we've fallen short of God's standard. So we turn around and don't forgive others. And our hearts begin to harden not only toward others, but towards ourselves. But God's plan of forgiveness provides total freedom for us from guilt over what we've done and from the bitterness towards others for what they've done to us. The ability to forgive is a reflection of a repentant, spiritually reborn heart. That repentance begins one-on-one with God. How willing are you to forgive yourself and others?
Tony Dungy, author of the popular Uncommon book series. More at CoachDungy.com. That's CoachDungy.com.
It's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update. Presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250 plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Giants take Game 2 from the Braves. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Get clean car happy all season long at Tidal Wave with exclusive membership discounts, giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutospa.com/Braves for more information.
The Giants put up 4 in the second, 4 in the seventh with a 1-run fifth mixed in between as they topped the Braves 9-0 in Game 2 of the 3-game set. Wilmer Flores had a 3-run shot. He had 4 RBI on the night, leading the way for the G-men. Davis Daniel got the loss. He's 0-1 on the season. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. The Braves look to win the series this afternoon. Business person special coming up at Truist Park. You'll get Spencer Strider on the mound for the Braves. He's 4-7, has a 3.59 ERA and 82 strikeouts on the season. Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famer, going for the Giants. He's 0-8, has a 4.99 ERA and 67 strikeouts. For leadoff show with myself and Chris Domino coming your way at 11 a.m. First pitch with Ben and Joe across the street at Truist Park at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, 11:15 a.m. Central Time on the Braves Radio Network.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX New Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. This bumper song, Rejoiner, it always sounds like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater to me.
Kind of does have that vibe.
It's got that, go fast, do your, 1,000 flips, kick flips, whatever it may be.
The 980 Ollie.
Yes. I know they had a lot of Goldfinger and a lot of those type bands on those soundtracks, and this intro always sounds a little bit like that to me. But we appreciate you tuning in to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 right here in Panama City Beach, and all of Bay County and beyond. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, streaming live every day. 3 great local shows, starting with the Coach James Hale Show from 7 to 9, right here Inside Drive from 11 to 1. Of course, the afternoon underdogs coming up at 4 to 6 p.m. Atlanta Braves coming off that loss last night to the Giants, won the first game, lost the second game. They're going to complete the 3-game series starting here in about 14 minutes or so. We'll keep you posted on that game against the Giants up there at Truist Park as it gets underway here in just a little bit. As I mentioned, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you have to do is search ESPN Northwest Florida. You'll find us on all those social channels. We appreciate it if you do already follow, and if you do on Facebook, click that little arrow. Looks like a curved arrow. It's the share button. All you can do is click that and then click post. Boom, you share the show for us, which we appreciate very, very much. Google Play Store or Apple Play Store, 104.3. All you got to search up to download our free mobile app. That mobile app provides you the opportunity to listen to ESPN Northwest Florida wherever you have cell phone service. Doesn't take a second, but to download that, we do have a lot of contests that run through that app as well, and especially as we get closer to college and NFL football season, I think there'll be a little bit more contests coming out right here from ESPN Northwest Florida. Speaking of countdowns to college football and countdowns to NFL football. We are inside the 31-day mark for the college football kickoff. Now, this is week 0, which starts on August 23rd. I know the real big week really is the August 30th day, where you've got that great lineup all day of big time.
I don't know. There's some pretty good games on the 23rd. I mean, Western Kentucky's playing, so I'm happy.
Yeah, there you go. See, James is ready for college football to be here on the 23rd. That is 30 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, 55 seconds, and counting till college football gets underway for the 25 season. Hard to believe, or actually kind of believable, but we're getting ever so closer. And then the NFL kickoff, which is roughly about 12 days later. That kicks off on September 4th with an NFC East matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. We'll find out who's actually going to be on the team there for the Cowboys. We're going to talk about some training camp news here in the second segment. Who's holding out, who is reported to camp, who isn't reported to camp, all those wonderful things that happen to start the NFL season. But again, 42 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting till we get underway the NFL season. Also, coming up this fall, we'll be we'll be airing some of the biggest college football games each week. We're going to target more of the big time games week in and week out. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on the schedule, all those games, obviously on our Facebook page, but live on the air as well. So if any businesses, anybody out there want to get involved in those college football broadcasts, we've got some great college football packages right now. Feel free to reach out to myself, anyone here at the studio, for more information, because if anybody listens to the radio a lot, it's college football fans during the college football season. We also air Game Day every Saturday as well, as Game Day has a radio version of Game Day as well, which is a lot of fun. I know everybody's excited for college football season. Of course, we are as well. Also, I'm very excited for the NFL football season, because a lot of storylines will take place and get going here in, about 42 days. Want to give a quick shout out to our good leader here at the station, Randy Williams. Happy birthday, Randy. Hope it's a great one.
Happy birthday!
Got to play the birthday drums, right? We should have brought in a popper when I walked into the studio today and got him on that one. But happy birthday, Randy. What's today? July 23rd. So there you go. Happy birthday, Randy. We're going to talk, first segment, we're going to talk a little bit about some home run history potentially happening. Some of the MLB standings. The number 1 pick in the MLB draft has set a record as well. If we have some time, we'll talk about Jake Finch. He had his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut this last Saturday at Dover. We're actually going to have him join us on Friday at 11:40 when Mr. Jay Henley is back in studio with me. So got to make sure you tune into that. Local man tearing up the NASCAR ranks. He's, I think, the 6th or 7th rookie driver for Hendricks to drive the 17 car. A lot of those other drivers have moved on to the Cup Series, so maybe that's in Jake Finch's future as well. So we'll start with a little home run history. As in the history of Major League Baseball, no season has had more than 4 players hit 50-plus home runs, and that's only happened twice. Well, that can certainly change this year. This morning, 5 players are on pace to hit 50 dingers. Kyle Schwarber has hit 33. He's on pace for 53. Shohei Ohtani has hit 36. He's on pace for 57. Eugenio Suarez has hit 36 as well and is on pace for 57. Aaron Judge has hit 36, but he's on pace for 58. I wonder how they figure out the on pace. Probably some mathematical formula.
Yeah, I bet you're looking at like slug versus how many times they come up and get a home run versus how many games also left.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some great convoluted number that somebody way smarter than me with math figured that out.
I would probably just put it as how many home runs they've hit divided by the number of games they played, and then see how many games they have left and just put that right into there.
That's how I would do it.
That's probably not the way that they do it, but that's how my simple mind would certainly do it. But obviously Aaron Judge maybe has another game or two, because he's got the same as Suarez and Ohtani, but has on pace of 58. And then, of course, Cal Raleigh, the home run derby champion, the big dumper, has 39 home runs as he hit another one yesterday. He is on pace for 63 home runs. So if all those guys continue their pace, we will have 5 players that hit 50-plus home runs, which will be an MLB record. Doesn't mean we're hitting more home runs this year, because the MLB is roughly on pace for the same total as last year. So it's not a league-wide spike. It's just basically 5 dudes hitting a bunch of home runs to potentially set a record. So, but Suarez, like we talked about yesterday, might be on the move. So we'll see if he does, in fact, get traded before the deadline. Will he keep up that home run pace? I guess that is yet to be seen. James, you got your Cubs jersey on today.
Got one of the Cubbies going on today. Had a nice win last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading the NL wild card, or leading the whole NL right now. Are they leading the whole league? 60-41?
I don't know if they're leading the whole league. I know they are leading the National League. There was a day there after the All-Star break where they did overtake the Tigers, but I think the Tigers have now taken that back.
They have actually, let's see. Yeah, they're leading the entire National League, so I wasn't completely being facetious. But yeah, let's see. Can I do the entire? Yeah, there we go. The Chicago Cubs tied with the Brewers 60-41, both with that .594 winning percentage. And Detroit Tigers have one more loss than the Cubbies and the Brewers. So it's actually the Cubbies and the Brewers leading the entire league right now, with the Detroit Tigers only a half game back of that. Houston, Toronto, and Houston and Toronto both a game back, with the Los Angeles Dodgers being a game and a half back. Again, that's just the best record in the entire major league. Kind of breaking it down by division. Obviously, the Cubs, if they're leading the whole league, they're also leading their division, but they are tied with the Milwaukee Brewers. How about that? The Cubs and the Brewers both having awesome seasons. I think that's good for baseball, right?
It's good for baseball. Definitely good for the Central and making it way more entertaining to watch, which is why I'm here, is for entertaining baseball. But this is the absolute latest in the season that the Brewers have been at the number 1 spot since 1992. Where they lost in the World Series to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Can't remember that. Good stuff. Little fun fact there. But jumping over to the AL side of things, Blue Jays leading over the Yankees, who have, they're 6-4 in their last 10. But, prior to that, kind of a little bit of a skid there, so to speak. They ended up losing the Braves in that one game, 7-0, or maybe 8-0. But Toronto has a 3-game lead on the New York Yankees in that AL East. James, is that surprising to you that the Blue Jays are leading that division?
A little bit, because I kind of figured the Blue Jays were just going to do what they've done the last couple of years, which is on paper, man, these guys look great. And then we start playing the games and we go, wow, was I just kind of wrong with this? But Vlad Jr. now playing absolutely out of his mind is making a big difference for the Blue Jays. And just the fact that their pitching rotation right now is staying healthier than any other pitching rotation in the American League East. It is also a big help, but I've been saying it for a few years now. You got to have 8 starters. You can't have 5 anymore.
You said it yesterday, too. That's for sure. It's kind of the survival of the fittest at this point when it comes to the pitching staffs in the Major League Baseball.
It is. It's crazy. I guess it's because we're just trying to put so much effort and force into all these pitches to get every single one of them to 98 that we're just putting such strain on the elbows. And it's another thing that I have noticed this year, where the curveball.
Yeah.
Where the curveball gone? It's basically a dead and dying pitch. You just don't see it much anymore.
Why?
Again, it goes back to, I think it's going now to just absolute velocity, where we don't have Greg Maddux anymore, where we're painting the corners and we're just getting the guys out because we're throwing just good pitches. We're just going up there, and I don't think we're pitching as much anymore as we're just throwing. We're just going out there and we are just get it up there at 102 and get it close to the strike zone. That's all we care.
Well, and I'm a casual baseball fan. I don't know everything like a lot of other people do, but kind of from watching from the outside in, so to speak, everything seems to be so focused on velocity. Velocity of the ball coming off the bat, velocity from the pitcher. It just seems like the era has kind of moved into how hard we can hit it and how fast we can throw it.
And for me, I would counteract it as a pitching coach, as a manager. Why do you want, if the other team, if I know the other team is over there and their key focus is launch angle and speed coming off the bat, then why do I want to give them a flat pitch with a fastball?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is you're giving them an angle that's easier to hit, easier to take off at the hit angles you want, and coming in hard enough that they can just knock it back to where it came from.
Yep.
To me, it makes more sense that you need to have more 12-6 guys that are throwing those 12-6 curves, because it's going to be harder to get that ball to hit that launch angle because it's already coming down to you. You're not greeting it on the upwards. You're greeting it on the downwards. So you've got a better chance of just either popping that thing way up or just taking that thing straight into the ground, and you're not giving as much speed. And those bats, create speed in themselves, but a lot of that speed is also coming from the ball with the speed on it.
Yeah,
because if you look at a ball that is, coming in at 98, it's going to get returned harder than a ball that is going in at 75 from the same bat swing. So I'm looking at it going, why are you fighting fire with fire when we haven't tried anything else? It's like we've tried nothing and we're out of ideas.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I mean, I just don't see why that's the case. If it's creating more injuries, maybe it's what MLB wants. They want more home runs, more deep balls.
More home runs, more strikeouts, everything.
Yeah.
Hey, look, all these records being set. Look, the pitching is better and the batting is better. No, we're just seeing a difference in how the game is played.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Gwynn struck out 14 times in 1986 or 87 or 88, whatever year that was. Rafael Devers struck out that many times in 3 games this season.
Yep. Yeah, certainly kind of a cyclical game, so to speak, as many of the professional sports are certainly that way as well. Kind of jumping through the rest of the standings right now, Detroit Tigers 60-42 leading that AL Central. Cleveland Guardians are 9 games back right now at even 550-50. They've played an even 100 games. AL West, Houston Astros 59-42, 5 games ahead of those Seattle Mariners. Big dumpers, kind of keeping them in the mix there, which is fun to watch. Philly is leading the NL East over the New York Mets by a half game. The Mets have one more loss than Philadelphia at Philadelphia 58-43, Mets 58-44. Chicago Cubs and Milwaukee Brewers, as we already talked about, both leading the NL Central 60-41 on both of those. Cincinnati Reds and the Cardinals are both 8.5 games back. Dodgers, imagine that, leading the NL West 59-43, with the Padres only 3.5 games back of that particular division lead. Jumping over to the wild card side of things, obviously you have all your division leaders. Right now the Yankees are leading the AL wild card, and also the Seattle Mariners. They're 3 games ahead of the Boston Red Sox, 2 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners, and they're a game ahead of the Boston Red Sox. With the Tampa Bay Rays, I think that's the jersey you were wearing yesterday, if I can remember yesterday.
That was yesterday.
They are a half game back of that third and final wild card spot in the AL. Jumping over to the NL side of things, Chicago, obviously we know our division leaders, and then of course in the wild card side of things, because the Cubs are tied with the Brewers, they're both the wild card leaders as well, 5 games ahead of the San Diego Padres, and 2.5 games ahead of New York Mets, who are 2.5 games ahead of the Padres, followed by the Giants and the Reds, kind of hanging in there, 3.5, 2.5 games back. Major League Baseball is, we're getting to the home stretch here. Once we hit August, we start, once the trade deadline happens, that's where we kind of hit the quote-unquote home stretch, and people start to forget about baseball because football comes back.
My big thing right now, have the Dodgers hit rock bottom? They are leading the NL West now, but they had a somewhere around 10-game lead now, which is cut now to, what did we say, a 2.5, 3.5?
2.5, yeah.
But I mean, when you go 3 for 11 in your last 14, it is not a pretty picture. It's not the starting pitching either right now, I think, for the Dodgers. It is just like the Braves. Those relievers are coming in and not relieving the starters. They're just going in and, hey, everybody, you get a home run. You get a home run. You get a home run.
Not a good formula for winning any any baseball games.
Well, you're not going to win college baseball games.
No, that is true. That is true. Speaking of college baseball, the number 1 MLB draft, he was the number 1 overall pick, Ethan Holiday. The Rockies agreed to a contract with a historic $9 million bonus after the 2025 draft. Ethan Holiday may be years away from his major league debut debut, but he already made history. ESPN's Kylie McDaniel reported Tuesday he and the Colorado Rockies agreed to a contract that will pay the number 4 overall pick of the 2025 MLB draft a $9 million bonus. It is the biggest bonus for a player who is selected out of high school in draft history. It also tied for the 4th highest bonus of all time. Baseball is obviously a family business for the holidays. Ethan is the son of former Rockies player Matt Holliday and brother of Baltimore Orioles infielder Jackson Holliday. Jackson Holliday was the number 1 overall pick back in the 2022 MLB draft and held the previous record for high school bonus at $8.19 million until this summer. Eli Willits, who was the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 MLB draft, agreed to an $8.2 million bonus with the Washington Nationals. However, that record only stood for a matter of days, and Ethan Holliday surpassed it with his $9 million deal. How about that? Your family, 2 of your kids are number 1 high draft picks in Major League Baseball. I'd say baseball runs pretty solid in that family. Last story in our first segment here. The Honey Badger has officially hung it up. Tyrann Mathieu has now officially retired as of yesterday in the NFL. Some of his career accomplishments: he played 12 seasons in the NFL. He was a Super Bowl champion, 4-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. He was part of the NFL 2010s All-Decade team. He was part of the All-Rookie team back in 2013. Hard to believe people started in 2013 or retiring now. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year in 2011. His NFL career stats: he had 838 tackles, 36 interceptions, 11 sacks, 4 defensive touchdowns, 7 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries, and 100 pass deflections. Hall of Famer?
Hall of Very Gooder.
Yeah.
I don't think quite Hall of Fame. He is Hall of Very Good.
Yes.
It's one of those positions you just don't see a whole lot of guys in, the corner position that make it to the Hall of Fame, because it's just hard to put up those numbers there, and it's not numbers you can really control, because if you're a great corner, the other team is not going to throw to your side, so you're not going to collect a lot of those numbers. So a very hard position to get into the Hall of Fame. Might he get in? Yeah, maybe. I mean, everybody's got a chance of getting in, but I'd love to see it. I just don't see it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you'll see a lot of safeties make it. And he played a little bit of safety as well, but primarily a cornerback because he was such a good, especially in man coverage, such a good man corner. But he's officially retired from the NFL, so we don't have the Honey Badger anymore in the NFL. And I think he was on the Cardinals when he retired?
Originally Cardinals. I think he...
Saints?
Yes. The Saints is where he did his last 2 or 3 years.
Yep. His last tour of duty, as you could say. We have come to the end of our first segment. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to jump into some NFL training camp news. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Can the Atlanta Braves make another second half run? Can history be duplicated?
Is this happening? It is! The Atlanta Braves are world champions!
This is why we play the game.
Grissom on the run! Yes! Yes!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For this afternoon and evening, definite thunderstorms and light sprinkles and a high of 91 with a gentle breeze coming out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour. Tonight, a variety of some clouds and likely thunderstorms with lows around 78. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning but otherwise definite thunderstorms and a temperature near 86. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered, literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better. Together, TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. The locals love it.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN in Northwest Florida, sitting inside the beautiful Golf Plus studios right there over in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza. Now through this Saturday, or this weekend, I should say, use keyword Inside Drive when you walk in Golf Plus. All in-store shoes and hats are 20% off. All you got to do is walk through that door, yell Inside Drive, and you will automatically get 20% off your shoes or hats. And, maybe a good time to start loading up on some gear for the fall when it starts getting a little bit nicer out there for the game of golf. Because today's actually not a bad day. With that cloud cover, the temperature seems a little bit better, a little bit more tolerable. Obviously, yesterday and the day before that were certainly saunas out there. So if you're waiting for fall, you might as well take advantage of that sale over there at Golf Plus. 20% off all in-stock shoes and hats. All you got to do is mention code Inside Drive. Right there, Edgewater Shopping Plaza next to Firefly. And Alan Watson does a fantastic job over there, focusing on retail, club repair, and club fitting. So if you need any work done on your clubs, they're the go-to place. If you want to get fit for a new set of clubs, or even just take your current set of clubs in and get those put on the lie loft machine to make sure they're still close to where you think they should be. That's something that kind of happens over time. You don't really realize, especially if you leave your golf clubs in the trunk of your car this time of year. You may go out there and hit a basket of balls and change the lie and loft a little bit on your golf clubs, because it does indeed happen, and then that makes a big difference on where your golf ball is going out there on the course. So go see Alan at Golf Plus, and he will make it very much easier for you to play the game.
So if the lie on like your 9-iron comes up or down, is there a machine that gets it back to it, or do you just replace the head?
No. They have a bending machine, so they can bend the iron right there for you.
All right, that's the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And to speak a little bit more on lie angle, so you obviously want the sole of the club to be laying completely flat on the ground when you come through the impact area. If your toe is up a little bit, that's going to make the club automatically point to the left, which is going to make that ball want to go to the left a little more. So vice versa, if the heel's up, it's going to want to go to the right a little bit. So that's why it's the impact area that you're figuring out. I mean, anybody can obviously sole the club and have it flat, but that's why they put a little bit of like this impact tape on the bottom of your club. So when you swing through it, you see where that consistent impact is. And if it's, a little bit towards the toe, you got to bend it up so it's more towards the middle, and vice versa with the heel. So there's a lot more that goes into it than you really realize. But because everything is so magnified, because you're hitting a ball from a standing position out somewhere, that it gets magnified as it goes further out there. Again, just check out Golf Plus. They can get you moving in the right direction, whatever that direction may be. NFL training camp season is here, which means we are right around the corner from the first preseason game of the year. I believe it's next Thursday, the Hall of Fame game up there in Canton, Ohio, and then you'll have the rest of the preseason games over the next 3+ weeks as we get closer. Some of the guys, though, that haven't got to training camp yet, some of these names aren't surprising. Some of these names are surprising. We'll start with Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry had a career year last year, and he expressed frustrations over negotiations last week. This is something that could derail all the positive momentum up there in Washington over the past 2 years, and a big one to watch. Scary Terry wants more money, career year. Will the Commanders pay him or not?
I think they will. I mean, this is the song and dance you're getting, and you're going to have this song and dance at the beginning of every training camp. We see it every year. It's nothing new. Will he get the money? I would say so, because right now the position the Commanders are in is a good position. He was a big help to it, and you got that rookie quarterback that was feeding him, so he's used to it. You got to give that kid his security blanket if you want him to move forward and grow. So, yeah, we're going to have this argument. I bet he's there for week 1.
Yes, likely. Now, obviously, one of their big offseason acquisitions was Deebo Samuel. But in my humble opinion, watching Deebo Samuel play a lot of football games, he had one really good year until defenses kind of figured out what his strengths are, and now they tried to feed him the ball kind of the same way, and it just didn't really work as much. But their room's a little, they've got obviously Terry McLaurin. They got Luke McCaffrey, KJ Osborne, Ja'Cory Brooks, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Lane, Chris Moore, Jacoby Jones, maybe a name somebody knows, Noah Brown, who's currently nursing an injuries, Michael Gallup's currently nursing some injuries, Mike Strachan, and Tay Martin. So really, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and then
you got guys.
And then you got guys. Yep. Guys. I mean, obviously, Luke McCaffrey had a decent rookie year last year. Still have Zach Ertz in the tight end side of things, but I think, like you just said, their offense isn't their offense without Terry McLaurin in there, especially for a young Jaden Daniels. One of the big stories of the offseason, Cincinnati Bengals pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson left for Florida instead of reporting to Bengals camp over an offer he called an atrociously low. Hendrickson, the NFL's reigning sack leader, reportedly wants guaranteed money past the first year, and Bengals haven't been willing to meet him there in their negotiations. Also, Cincinnati Bengals first-round pick Shemar Stewart. Stewart is seeking the same contract structure as past draft picks, both with Cincinnati and across the league at his draft slot. They were given in years past. He wants what they were given in years past. For that, he was the target of the Bengals brasserie on Monday. This is arguably the most acrimonious standoff we've seen right now. I don't know, these white guys use these wild words. I guess that's what writers do. So anyway, you've got two guys that can make, obviously Trey Hendrickson's proven, but Stewart is also supposed to be a mega pass rusher as well.
I mean, you spent your first round draft capital on him, and it looks like you're going to just totally have him walk back to college and try it all over again. I mean, just a bad, no good, awful way to handle the whole situation with the man.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe Burrow was vocal yesterday in a press conference, kind of letting everybody know his disappointment that those pass rushers are not there. And also, they said, they asked Joe Burrow in the same interview, how did Bengals' first training camp go? He said, poorly. Joe Burrow tells us we've got a lot to clean up. And in that same press conference, he shared his disappointment that the pass rushers weren't there yet. He said it was disappointing Bengals edge rushers Trey Hendrickson and Shemar Stewart aren't here for camp's start amid contract dispute. So, the leader of that football team, quote unquote, is sharing his disappointment as well. Maybe that'll have some impact.
Not good.
Yes.
Not good at all. You know what that makes for? Not a happy locker room.
Dissension.
You know what you need to have? A happy locker room.
Yes. A lot of continuity and support for each other in that locker room. But hey, that Bengals organization, I don't want to say the ownership organization is not the best in the league as far as that's concerned. They make a lot of weird decisions. And then, of course, Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons. Parsons did report to camp and technically isn't a hold-in yet, but he had some pointed responses to Jerry Jones's wild media conference from Monday. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that, I would certainly listen to that. Jerry is just living in a delusional world and trying to do it all instead of just letting maybe other people do the right job.
I mean, the best move Jerry could make right now is Jerry could prove how easy Micah Parsons' job is by going out there and taking Micah Parsons' job.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it, man. You're gonna line Jerry Jones up as your right end man.
I like it. I don't even know if he can get the equipment on without getting hurt. But yeah, so he's reported, but likely going to be a hold-in. And unfortunately, by Jerry Jones and that organization waiting as long as they did with Myles Garrett and now T.J. Watt getting those huge contracts.
Well, it's the same thing with Cincinnati. You know, if you would have taken Trey Hendrickson at the end of last season, sat him in the room, said, here's $30 million a year for 3 years. You're now the highest paid defensive player in football. You know what he's going to do immediately? Sign it. You know what now? Now you're going to have to offer him $40, $45 million.
Yep.
You have just cost yourself $10 million a year by waiting.
Yep. And it's not rocket science when it comes to this. Now, I get it. It's, you've got to figure out your caps and all that stuff. But, obviously Dallas is probably not the same team with Micah Parsons because he is such an impactful player on that defensive. And he can play linebacker, he can play edge, he can play all over the place. So I wonder if they're going to do like what they did with Dak and end up paying him right before the season starts way more than they probably should.
Oh, absolutely. And it'll probably go for too long. They'll probably sign him for he probably needs like a 3 or 4 because it's football. It's a demanding game. It's a physical game.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. You got 4 plays one season with him.
Yep.
And then, so they're probably going to give him, here you go. Here's, $38 million a year for the next 5 years. And not the smartest move. But at the point that they're at right now, it might be what you have to offer to get him to stay there. Because you're not going to convince people to stay in Dallas for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You can't have that argument. You can't go, Jerry can't, hey guys, I got us a Super Bowl team. You guys stick around. No, Jerry, you can't do that, man, because you don't have that potential right now.
93, 4, 5?
95 last time that they made it
30
to
years.
the big show.
30 years. And a lot of other teams that had no business being there.
Like the Saints.
Yeah, like the Saints.
And the Panthers.
Giants, the Panthers, all these other teams that have been there since the Cowboys have been to a championship game. Not the Super Bowl, just a championship game. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Jauan Jennings said that he would ask for a trade if he did not get a contract extension. He also reported to camp Tuesday per general manager John Lynch. That said, the Niners' first practice is Wednesday, which will tell us a lot about Jennings' status with the team. Personally, I think they need to pay him. They almost have to pay him. He's been such a valuable player for the Niners over the last couple of years, and he blocks downfield. He makes huge plays. We probably wouldn't have had as much success 2 years ago without him, and Ayuk's nowhere ready to come back yet. Ricky Pearsall is still nursing a hamstring injury, and then behind that, we've got a slew of rookie wide receivers. So I think they get this done. I don't know what it looks like because he's not a top wide receiver in the league, but he's a great fit for the San Francisco 49ers.
He's not a top wide receiver in the league, but he's a top wide receiver you currently have under control.
Yes.
And you know what? Sometimes, the best ability? Availability.
Availability, absolutely. And he's had a little bit, but he just plays such a physical game, and I hope they do indeed keep him around because I think it's very, very important for the success of the team. Last on this list, Green Bay Packers offensive lineman Elgton Jenkins. He was in attendance as Packers reported to camp on Tuesday, but his desire for a new contract will be tested, like Jennings, when practices begin on Wednesday. Some of the other news kind of coming out of training camp right now, obviously the Joe Burrow stuff has been the talk of the Twitter lines and all that. Bills GM hopeful James Cook will be with Buffalo this time next year. He's hopeful to keep James Cook around for a little bit. Some news out of the Patriots camp. Rookie third-round wide receiver already flashing at Pat's camp. Initially thought after practice, wide receiver Kyle Williams, third round out of Washington State, showing up with a couple catches in full-team drills, one with Christian Gonzalez as the closest defender. Cole Ottmeyer not surprised by Ben Johnson's intensity. Ben Johnson says something to the effect of get out when disciplining the first-team offense. Was Cole Kmet surprised by his action? Komet? No, not at all. I think that's on par for how Ben is. You think Ben Johnson's going to be the guy to lead the Bears to a much better record, maybe a division title?
No, it's still the Bears.
Some of these teams just have these clouds that are over them, like regardless of who's playing.
It doesn't matter what the Bears do; they end up just being the Bears.
Yeah.
You know, you can go out, they can draft a quarterback number 1 overall and then have him 4 years later playing for somebody else and doing all right even. It's they're a highly defensive focused team in a league that is highly offensively focused.
Yes, indeed. The league has changed, and some of these teams have not caught up just quite yet. Unlike their other counterpart there in the NFC North, the team Ben Johnson was on, the Detroit Lions. Panthers rookie ends practice with a bang and a possible breach of etiquette. Bryce Young said he knows there's an etiquette with NFL practice, but he appreciated, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name, I'm going to try Uman Malayan's competitiveness in his first training camp practice. Princely Uman Malayan ends practice with a strip sack on Bryce Young. He blazed around the corner and knocked the ball out of the launch point. I know you're not really supposed to touch the quarterbacks in training camp and practice, but, you know.
That's why they got the green or red jersey or some other colored jersey that is not associated with everybody else. It's the no-touch.
It's the no-touch jersey. However, red, if you got guys that are like, bulls out there that may want them to hit. And, I'm sure that was a quick thing, and they got over it. And then some health reports for the Eagles. Jalen Carter did not practice for the Eagles with a shoulder injury. Also, Kenyon Green did not practice as well. And they had some limited participants, Jahad Campbell and Cam Jurgens. So some a little bit of injury issues there for some of the big name players on that Eagles defense. But Travis Hunter was also catching passes in Jags camp. Obviously, he was in rookie camp and he was tried on both sides of the ball. Jacksonville's been using him more on offense than defense so far. Could he be a high-end wide receiver too, with Brian Thomas around pulling a lot of those catches away? As obviously the rookie from last year had great first season in the NFL. You think Travis can play more on the offensive side or more on the defensive side?
I think he'll play more on the defensive side, but I kind of see more practice for him being on the offensive side just because you've got to get those timings and rhythms down with Trevor Lawrence. But I think he'll be probably... I don't think we'll see the same kind of split we saw in Colorado.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. He'll just get... way too used, way too tired. You got a longer season. You got bigger guys out there. I think he is more of a value on the defensive side, and you need to practice on the defensive side without doubt. But it's not the same kind of chemistry that you got to have. Because, I mean, if you're a corner and you're playing out on an island, that's your island. You're by yourself.
Yep.
It's not really a team-type thing at that point. But between you and the quarterback, that's a team thing. That's a timing thing. That's a chemistry thing. So you've got to have more work on it.
100%. That is exactly correct. Christian Watson, who we know tore his ACL last year in Week 18 against the Bears, hopes to be back this season to bolster the Packers' wide receiver room. Brian Gutekunst, probably butchered that, says Christian Watson's rehab from a torn ACL is going great this offseason. He's a freak. He did a run test the other day and looked great. It's an ACL, so we're going to take our time with him, but he's pressing to be out there. A lot of guys popped their ACLs last year. A lot of guys may see the field this year, may not see the field this year, but Christian Watson obviously trying to get back. Last but not least, before we take a break, Spencer Rattler currently taking first-team reps for the New Orleans Saints. To start camp, the second-year quarterback gets reps over Tyler Shuck and Jake Haener. So maybe that's a precursor, or maybe they're just seeing how he handles it. Obviously, he's got the most NFL experience, really just last year, out of all these quarterbacks in that room, even a little bit over Jake Haener, who had to play a little bit last year as well.
I mean, I kind of think the New Orleans Saints are in a position where they just got to see what they got.
Yep.
It's one of those, it's like, well, we got all these guys. We don't know really what most of them can do, so let's just take this hat. And the name is Spencer. Come on down.
Spin the wheel, and whoever's name gets pointed on, that's where you go. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the 10 wildest rivalry origin series in college football.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.
This is of utmost importance in travel.
Take the sports talk monster with you anywhere you go. Available for Android and iPhone.
Use it anywhere or any place.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
This is Patrick with Turf Pro Pest Control. Summer is finally here. Now is the time to enjoy your lawn with cookouts, pool parties, or just catching some of that summer sun. Don't let fire ants ruin your day. Call Turf Pro Pest Control. Turf Pro will come out to your property and eliminate fire ants quickly. We guarantee it. Call Turf Pro. The blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Find us on Facebook at Turf Pro PC.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Are you ready?
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I love it.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
Becky was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are a proud partner with Hard Rock Bets. If you're a Hard Rock Bets user, if you are not, let me know and I will send you my referral link so we each get a free $50 bet. But you've been waiting for football, and now you can bet the preseason like it's the real thing. Winners, point spreads, over-unders, and more. Hard Rock Bet is your one-stop shop to bet all preseason long. Offered by the Seminole Indian Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. A lot of fun stuff going on with Hard Rock Bets right now. They're doing the 100, where they do 100 different boosts each day, and as soon as it fills up to 100 in that boost, they move to another boost, move to another boost. They're kind of increasing their rewards program a little bit too as well. So if you are a bettor or if you're a bettor without a way to bet, let me know. Hard Rock Bets, if you use the referral link from another Hard Rock Bets user, you each get a free $50 bonus bet, which you could turn that into a continuation of being able to bet, obviously, with NFL season on the way, college football season on the way, a lot of opportunities. But in the NFL, you can do the player props as well, passing yards, interceptions, all that good stuff. College, they don't do that because they don't want people harassing their athletes if they potentially screwed something up. But with college football, 30 days away, we're going to talk about the 10 wildest rivalry origin stories, a border war, a halftime brawl, and an eligibility fight. It's kind of a little history here in this third segment on the Inside Drive. Number 10, Virginia Tech, a battle over allegations of ineligibility. Think college football players stick around this sport too long now? Hunter Carpenter joined the Virginia Tech football team in 1899 and played 7 college seasons, 6 for Virginia Tech. Reportedly fueled by her desire to beat Virginia, Carpenter was named the Hokies team captain in 1902. After another rivalry loss in 1903 dropped him to 0-5, Carpenter left Virginia Tech and played for Virginia's other rival, North Carolina, in 1904. I want to help Carolina beat the University of Virginia, he reportedly said. The Tar Heels lost 12-11 in Virginia in the 1904 season finale. In 1905, he returned to Virginia Tech and prepared to face off against Virginia. Ahead of the game, Virginia's student paper accused Carpenter of being a paid professional player. So even in the early 1900s, people thought that was going. Carpenter and other players reportedly signed affidavits affirming their amateurism, and the star halfback helped Virginia Tech race to an 11-0 lead. He was ejected during the game. Some reports say he threw a football at opponents. Others say he threw a punch, but earned his long-coveted win over the Cavaliers as neither side scored the rest of the game. The two rivals refused to play again for 18 more years after the controversial result, but have played 96 times in the last 102 years, with the Hokies pulling ahead 62, 38, and 5 in the all-time matchup.
That guy would have fit just perfectly in the COVID class.
Absolutely. Notre Dame Navy, a partnership born from goodwill. Notre Dame has a host of rivals, but its most sacred is Navy. The two played every season from 1927 to 2019, interrupted by only the COVID-19 pandemic. Why? Then, in all-male university, Notre Dame faced steep financial difficulties amid World War II, mostly due to a decline in enrollment as young men enlisted for the war effort. Navy arranged for Notre Dame's campus to serve as a training center for V-12 candidates, an academic program built to identify and train future officers in the Navy. In 1944, more than half the Notre Dame students were in the military. The university trained nearly 12,000 naval officers during the war, according to the school. The Navy paid for the use of the facilities, served as a bridge to keep the university operational through the war. When the war ended, Notre Dame invited Navy to play a football game every season. While it's a lopsided series that Notre Dame leads 81-13-1 all time, the schools are under contract through 2032. The respect runs deep where the hate is shallow. In 2005, the tradition of standing for each other's alma mater after the game. That's like a happy rivalry.
Yeah, it's like a rivalry that got created from a need and necessity, and they still play it, so good on them.
Yeah, good on them indeed. Let's see, number 8. I'm going to see how many I can get through. Michigan at Notre Dame. Michigan taught Notre Dame how to play football. In 1887, Michigan had already been playing football for 8 years. 2 Michigan players who previously attended Notre Dame reached out with an offer to teach students at their former school about the game. In November 1987, Michigan's team traveled to South Bend and toured the campus before offering instruction on this new game called football. The muddy, wet game was played on a sloppy field and ended with an 8-0 victory for Michigan in front of a few hundred Notre Dame students. Michigan's team left Notre Dame's campus amidst rousing cheers, Notre Dame student newspaper wrote, leaving behind them a most favorable impression. The event popularized the sport on campus, but Notre Dame didn't log a victory in the rivalry until the 9th meeting in 1909. Michigan leads the all-time series 25-17-1, but the schools haven't played since 2019. Kansas State, a political battle to host the state's flagship university. Kansas achieved statehood in 1861 and quickly had plans to establish a state university. Governor Charles L. Robinson, a Lawrence resident, vetoed a bill that would have established KU in Manhattan. The state legislature sought to overturn the veto, but failed by 2 votes. A year later, the House passed another bill to establish a university in Manhattan, but it failed in the Senate by 1 vote. Finally, in 1863, a bill passed to establish an agricultural college in Manhattan rather than a state university. The legislature and Governor Thomas Carney named Lawrence home to the state university as long as it could acquire $15,000 in funds and at least 40 acres to build a campus. Kansas University was finally established in 1865, 2 years after Kansas State was established, when Bluemont Central College was renamed Kansas State Agricultural College. When the two foes faced off in football almost 4 decades later, the bad blood was still boiling. Kansas holds a 65-52-5 all-time lead in the Sunflower Showdown, though Kansas State has won the last 16 meetings. Didn't know that one.
That's that's a way back right there. I like that.
Way back in the 1860s. Number 6, Colorado State and Wyoming. A brawl over officiating. The two border rivals met for the first time in 1899 in Laramie, Wyoming. Each school provided its own official. The game ended in a Wyoming forfeit after Colorado State's official, a CSU professor named Edward House, ruled the Wyoming official E.D. MacArthur and the Cowboys refused to abide by the rules of the game. According to CSU historian John Hearn, the Wyoming crowd argued it should be second down when it was third down. Stormed the field during the game and cursed at the House and CSU, waving canes and reportedly shouting, "Kill the whole outfit, mob them right here." As Colorado State left the field following the forfeit ruling, MacArthur told Wyoming's players to run for a touchdown on the now vacated field, which have given Wyoming the lead and victory. That ignited a brawl. Colorado State's quarterback was even struck in the head by a cane. Colorado State's president said the two wouldn't play again until Wyoming issued an apology, but the two met the following year and is now the longest-running rivalry in the Mountain West Conference, 116 meetings. As for that first game, Colorado State does not recognize it in its history. Wyoming, however, counts it as a victory.
So I like this. Back in the day, you each bring your own ref.
Yep.
You got 2 refs for the whole game.
Yep.
One's on your side, one's on the other side. What can't go wrong there?
Apparently a lot. Cane-waving fans beating up quarterbacks. That's a wild one. All right, Cincinnati and Miami of Ohio. Now, remember, this list is not like the greatest rivalries of all time. It's crazy stories that led to rivalries. Cincinnati and Miami of Ohio. Should Miami have been in Cincinnati? John Cleves Sims, a New Jersey delegate of the Continental Congress, was instructed by the federal government to reserve land for a university after purchasing 487 square miles of land in southwestern Ohio. The agreement was part of the Sims purchase in 1788. After reviewing the purchase, he sold some of the land rather than meeting the requirement for the university land. Ultimately, Ohio General Assembly established Miami University in 1809 with a land grant. The War of 1812 slowed development, but the school began classes in 1824 in Oxford, 40 miles north of Cincinnati. That was 2 years later after a failed effort to move the university to Cincinnati. The University of Cincinnati, then known as Cincinnati College, was founded in 1819. The two schools began playing football against one another in 1888, making it tied for the oldest rivalry in the Football Bowl subdivision. The teams have met 79 consecutive seasons, but won't play in the upcoming 2025 season.
Well, boo. All these, we're just moving teams too much. We're just moving leagues too much. We're losing these great, rivalry games that we used to have. And I think that's a tragedy, man, because those are usually the fun things to watch. Like on the 3rd Saturday in October, if I'm not watching Orange take on Red, I'm not going to be happy. That is the game. That is the date of that game. Don't change it. Don't play with it. Make it happen.
Absolutely. Certainly a lot of changes. I mean, and we're going way back in time here with all these starts to some of these particular different rivalries. This is an interesting one. Clemson, South Carolina. Should Clemson exist? South Carolina College was founded in 1801, but for much of the next century, there was a debate about whether a separate state agricultural college should be established. After the Civil War, South Carolina College briefly disintegrated. I don't think that's disintegrated. Actually, it is, allowing black students from 1873 to 1877, but politicians closed the university in 1877 and reopened it as an all-white school in 1880. In 1880, Benjamin Tillman, a politician, a white supremacist, and leader of the state's agrarian movement, campaigned for a separate land-grant college focused on agricultural studies and pushed for South Carolina to accept plans from Thomas Green Clemson to will his estate to the state for that cause. Clemson was founded in 1889, and a year later, Tillman won an election to become governor of the state. The controversy surrounded by Clemson's birth was more than enough to spawn a heated rivalry between the two schools since 1896 that has persisted despite the two never sharing a conference. In 2004, the two sides engaged in an ugly brawl with under 6 minutes to play. Both teams banned themselves from bowl eligibility and handed out suspension that carried over into the 2025 season. I got time for probably... All right, which one do you want to hear, James? Texas A&M and Baylor, the brawl on the Brazos, Michigan, Ohio State, the Cold War ignited by a land feud, or Kansas, Missouri, the border war preceded by a literal border war.
Oh, go Kansas, Missouri. There was a border war there.
That is number one. Kansas, Missouri, as I said, the border war preceded by a literal border war. In the 1850s, Kansas pursued statehood. There was a dispute about whether it would be a free or slave state. America was headed toward the Civil War, and both sides knew the manpower and land would be valuable, to say nothing of the moral implications. The debate was mostly argued via violence and guerrilla warfare between the citizens of Kansas and the slave state Missouri on its border. Those fighting for the free state became known as the Jayhawkers. The small band of militia that protected Columbia, Missouri was known as the Tigers. On August 21st, 1863, former Lawrence resident and advocate for the Confederacy, William Quantrill, led a group of about 400 men to raid Lawrence, killing over 150 men and leaving much of the city burning. It was the defining moment of the border war, also known as Quantrill's Raid and the Lawrence Massacre. It has been depicted and referenced in numerous works of art in the 160 years since. It ignited a rivalry that carried over into athletic competition when football began a few decades later. Many of the characters of the time still hover in the rivalry. Some Kansas fans will wear shirts to the games against Missouri, Missouri that depict Tragic Prelude, a famous painting of abolitionist John Brown in which he holds a rifle in one hand and a Bible in the other, symbolizing the fight to keep Kansas a free state. A literal border war. When we get back, it is time to be joined by our good friend Keith Fleming, talking about the Open Championship, maybe some other topics, then of course jumping into his picks, parlays, and best bets of the week. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back with Keith Fleming.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
If there's ever been a show that needs to be flipped on a dime, this is it. The first hour was absolutely miserable.
I'm trying to think of the experiences I've had in my life that I would compare. Probably a colonoscopy would be close. I once had all 4 wisdom teeth taken out the same day. I think that was pretty bad.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For this afternoon and evening, definite thunderstorms and light sprinkles and a high of 91 with a gentle breeze coming out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour. Tonight, a variety of some clouds and likely thunderstorms with lows around 78. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning, but otherwise definite thunderstorms and a temperature near 86. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads. Using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, and all of the Bay County. Beautiful. A little bit cooler today. Not so sauna-y out there. Got a little cloud cover, maybe some rain this afternoon, but clearly not as hot as it's been the last few days. And, of course, you can always check out Joanna right here on ESPN Northwest Florida's Jay's ex-girlfriend, but still does a great job giving you most accurate weather forecast around. We appreciate Mid-South Lumber, Ellis Agency, and Insurance, as well as Earthworks of Northwest Florida for bringing you Joanna and the weather right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're rolling into that hot season, so make sure you stay tuned and keep up to date with all your accurate and breaking weather. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play Store. Just search 104.3 right there, and you'll be able to download that. Take us wherever you go. All you got to do is ask Alexa or Siri to open the ESPN Northwest Florida app. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com. Sign up for Scorpion TV. Code ESPNNW. It's only $45.08 per month. NFL Network, ESPN Plus, all the pay-per-view events, Red Zone Channel, literally any sports you could want to watch for only $45.08 per month, including all the pay-per-view, boxing, UFC, all those wonderful events, and of course, over 10,000 movies on demand. I feel like it's been a few Wednesdays since I've been on the show. Obviously, life kind of gets in the way, but excited to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, another great tournament that he had on the DraftKings side of things, and that was the Open Championship. My good buddy, Keith Fleming. You can follow him on Twitter/X at KEITHFLEMMING. Keith, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How are you doing, Ron?
Doing good. You know, hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit, as I always say.
You always say that?
I do, since I learned that phrase when I came to the South and worked and heard somebody say that. And I was like, well, I never heard that before. But hair in a bagel probably would have been more in tune from where I grew up. But, yeah, hair in a biscuit. It's kind of gross.
It is a little gross, but that's okay.
Yeah, yes. But anyway, obviously, Open Championship is done. Shocker, Scotty Scheffler winning that. But you had a great week in DraftKings as well. You've been really on some serious fire this year, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, it's been a really good year for me and DFS and DraftKings. I've, kind of changed the contests that I play in. I'm going to try to do the same for football, where doing less entries but doing higher entry fees, obviously single entries, which I always tell people, and trying to really stick with small fields, which again, the upside of what you can win is obviously less, but I just feel like that is sort of my sweet spot, and that's one of the big keys in gambling, in any facet, is finding, what you can consistently make money in.
Yeah, I mean, winning a lesser prize, but winning more often certainly is a much better formula versus going into those massive 150-entry, $1 million tournaments. Your odds to win those are so much less, and your odds, obviously, of winning just money in general are a lot better in those smaller fields, just from straight statistics.
Absolutely. I want to ask you this because it's something that it really kind of blew me away. So basically, for the last 33 major championships, do you know how many, the percentage have been won by Americans?
Ooh, I don't off the top of my head. I'll throw out a number. Let's throw out 60%.
76%. 25
wow.
of the last 33 majors have been won by Americans, and that's going all the way back to kind of Koepka's run, which obviously he's got 3 in that period. Spieth has 1. Obviously, we know DeChambeau has 2. Morikawa has 2. Xander has 2. Scotty obviously has 4. But the only Europeans to win in that period, Francisco Molinari, Shane Lowry, or non-Americans, Hideki, John Rahm, obviously twice, Fitzpatrick, Cam Smith, and Rory. It's amazing that they're dominating, obviously, the individual majors, but at the same point, I think they got a little bit of an uphill battle coming at the Ryder Cup, which we've seen. That's kind of been what they've struggled with in general over the last few decades.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, golf and ice hockey, apparently, Americans are leading the charge, and Florida's kind of at the top of that hockey side of things as well. But, yeah, I don't want to say like we're only about ourselves in the golf world, but like you just said about the Ryder Cup, it kind of plays into that. When we get to these big team events, there's just, at least in recent years, hasn't been a captain or a guy to really bring us together and play like a team, and I think that's what the Europeans have such an advantage on. Like, they live almost for the Ryder Cup, and Americans just don't seem to have that same fire and same passion. Now, that may change this year over there in Farmingdale, New York, there on the edge of Long Island at Bethpage State Park on the Black Course, which is coming up really here in, 2 months, which is...
September 25th.
Okay, so 2 months from this Friday is when that Ryder Cup gets started. That is right around the corner. Let's talk a little bit about your boy. We've talked about him a lot this year, Scotty Scheffler. He was obviously had that notable press conference where he kind of said golf wasn't really that fulfilling for him. Which is kind of a weird thing to say, but at the same time, it's just he's just very good at golf.
Can I stop you there, though?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are misunderstanding, at least, again, in my opinion. I don't know Scheffler personally, so I can't say this, but I think the real issue for him and what he was getting at is that he was not enjoying the victories, right?
Yeah.
Because what he loves is the grind. He loves getting to work. It's sort of the Bill Belichick moniker, right, of on to the next.
Yeah.
And I think the main point he was trying to make in that was, and I think that this is genuine, he is more concerned about his success and being a good person off the golf course, a good family man, a good husband, etc., than he is being a great golfer. But the bigger part that I think people misunderstood, again, is that they were looking at it that he doesn't care. I think it's the opposite. It's actually, he loves, again, the grind of just being the best, to where he's admitted he was not favoring these historic wins and things that he's doing. And so he's really trying to be in the moment. I think his son has helped a lot. And you're seeing a little bit of Scheffler's personality come out. The ratings were up again, despite him running away with it. So this notion that Scotty Scheffler is not a draw, I feel like is being debunked time and time again. And we're so special, right? I mean, you grew up, right, watching Tiger.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would see another person dominate the game of golf. And yet, here we are. And Scheffler might be in a better position than even Tiger because he seems to have more of his off-the-field life together. And he also has a swing that he doesn't really seem to have any injuries. And let's not forget that if not for some pasta, I don't know if Rory McIlroy would have won the Masters. And I don't know what Scheffler would have done, because really, you now look at it, his last 12 starts, 4 wins, he's finished no worse than 8th in any of those, which is just insane. And again, most of these events are signature or majors, so you can't say they're weak fields.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've been talking about Scheffler a lot this week with the different people I've had in studio, and somebody, I forget who it was that said it, actually might have been Paul, who has joined me on Monday. Scheffler just seems to have, like, perspective. And that's kind of what you were saying, like, about life. Like, obviously, golf is a massive part of his game. It's his job. It's his livelihood. He's really, really good at it and loves the grind of practicing and getting that craft perfected. But he also has the perspective of what's really important. And I think that's kind of where you were just saying people think like he doesn't care about the game of golf. He just knows what's important in his life. And obviously his family, his kids, all that are just as important as the game of golf, as he wants to be the best person he can be on and off the golf course. And I think that's truly admirable. And like you said, separates him a little bit different than Tiger. Obviously, so many people became fans of Tiger because of how Tiger was on the golf course. He had the, I got to lead, I'm going to step on your throat and beat the brakes in on you while I finish this golf tournament. And everybody was intimidated by Tiger. He was a lot more flashy, and obviously he transcended, brought a lot of people into the game of golf. And Scheffler, I don't know if he's bringing a lot of people into the game of golf as far as playing, but he's certainly bringing in viewership because he's almost like, I don't know if this is the right term, but almost like the everyday guy out there playing golf and just absolutely dominating. And I think people can relate much more to Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think him, the mess at the PGA last year, I think that helped get his name out there, and people who did not know who Scottie Scheffler now does. And the other big thing, again, was Rory winning the Grand Slam got a lot of attention for the game of golf as well. And Scheffler, I mean, again, there's two things, though, from Scheffler's performance. One is he has a chance with the FedEx Cup and the Ryder Cup still to come to have one of the greatest seasons in the history of the PGA Tour. He became just the third guy to win 4 majors by 4 shots or more. No surprise that the other 2 guys are Tiger and Jack. That shouldn't shock anybody. That seems to be what his lists are just in general that he keeps joining. And we now look at it just from last March of 2024. He's won 14 events and 3 majors in that span. And that is basically Jordan Spieth's career. Yeah. And a reminder to people, Jordan Spieth is a Hall of Famer, unquestionable, a Hall of Fame golfer. And Scottie Scheffler, in basically the span of 16 months, has had his career. Like, he's equaled his wins, his majors, one of each of them. This year for the majors, for players who made the cut in all 4, he was 32 under par. The next highest was Rory McIlroy at 11. There was only 3 players that were 10 under or better, and only 6 guys that were under par. So, again, you just see that dominance. He's now going back since 2020. That was his first major championship start at Augusta. 22 majors, 4 wins, 16 top 10s, 9 top 5s, and he's finished 23rd or better in 20 of them. And he's on another level, and it has an opportunity to really kind of take over the game of golf. The thing I do have a problem with, though, is people saying that he is the next Tiger. Now, does he have a chance to reach Tiger's level? Yes. He has proven, especially with the improvement in his putting, that the best could be yet to come, which, again, is scary to the rest of the tour. But I just want to remind people that Tiger won 27 events from 99 to 2003, and then added another 23 events from 2005 to 2008. In 2008, he only played 6 events, winning 4 of them because he shredded his knee. And he was playing most of those with a torn ACL, MCL, PCL. So as good as Scheffler has been, and he has been incredible, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best player since Tiger Woods, let's just pump the brakes right now on comparing him to Tiger. And if he continues on the path he's on, we're going to have plenty of time for those discussions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another 8 to 10 years at least in his career if he can continue to stay healthy. Obviously, we know he had that hand surgery, but, other than that, like you said, his golf swing is built for longevity and built to, be very repeatable for him. That's not a golf swing you would ever teach to anybody, but that's the beautiful thing about the game of golf. There's a lot of different ways to get that club back to the square position.
Amen. There is a few other winners I just want to talk about and touch on real quickly from this event. Phil Mickelson, who I do have to mention, though, remember, he tweeted out or asked out,
he
whatever
gave
you want
Scotty
to call it.
the reverse jinx.
That he would not win an event before the Ryder Cup. That has not worked out very well.
Pretty much the polar opposite.
For Mickelson. Yeah, I think that was a whiff by him. But Phil did become now third all time in most rounds of 67 or better. He became the oldest player in Open history with a bogey-free round. Second oldest. Tom Watson actually eclipsed him, so he's definitely a winner. Bryson DeChambeau, just phenomenal stuff. To shoot 78 in that opening round, go out and say what he did in the press conference, both after that round and then after his second, where he played the last 54 holes at 15 under. I really respect him, because a lot of players pack it in. They just do. These guys are uber rich and went in their tournament, right? And he fought all the way to the end. And I think that don't be surprised if Bryson is Scotty's foil in the next couple of years, because Scotty, from 2019 to 2023 in the majors, 19 starts, 9 top 10s, 5 top 5s, and a win. And of course, we know since then the 3 wins, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s. Well, Bryson now, over his last 13 majors, 8 top 10s, 5 top 5s, and a win. And he just had 2 top 10s prior to that in the majors. There's a good chance, I think, that Bryson is about to go on a run similar to Scheffler, where, like Scheffler, he is learning how to play major championships and with all this pressure. And I think he's the one guy, right, that if his game is, his A-plus or A game, he can give Scheffler a run, even if Scheffler's playing his best game as well.
Yeah, agreed. He just needs to get off that live tour.
I hope so. The only other 2 winners I want to mention, Harris English became, go Dogs, just the first man since Ernie Els to finish solo second in multiple majors in a golf season. Els did that in the year of the Tiger Slam. It was 2000. And then the other guy, Chris Gotterup, who, again, when you talk about golf and how what I love about it is the way you just don't ever know. He went over to the Scottish Open. He had not secured his ticket to the Open Championship, won the event, thus getting in the Open Championship, and now finishing third. And all of a sudden, this young man now has got status. He won a bunch of money. And by status, I mean that he's got 2 years on the PGA Tour. He's going to be in a bunch of majors and signature events. And the sky's the limit, but it's amazing what a difference 2 weeks make for somebody like Chris Gotterup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's kind of burst onto the scene, and a lot of times you'll see guys come in, win a tournament, and then just kind of go down from there. But, to go back-to-back in that style golf, I mean, pretty impressive stuff from a guy a lot of people probably never even heard of.
Absolutely. The last thing for the Open, just real quickly to touch on, Cam Smith became the only player who did not make a cut at any of the 4 major championships. Scotty Scheffler was the 14th consecutive first-time Open winner at the Open Championship. You have to go all the way back to Ernie Els. It's the last time somebody had won, their second or, third, whatever, Open Championship. But the Cam Smith deal and with Jon Rahm and stuff, outside of Bryson, I don't care what anybody says. Yes, I know that, Koepka ended up winning a major, but
feels
overall,
like forever ago now.
Exactly. And I said, Ryan, in the beginning that I did not like the format, for LIV, and I thought it would hurt them when they played in major championships and other events, because you're not used to playing under the pressure. You're not sweeping with a lead. You're not playing 4 rounds. And again, outside of Bryson, you cannot say that it has been a struggle for guys on the LIV Tour, because it has been. Yes, they've had flashes. Like Patrick Reed has played well in a couple of Masters. Phil Mickelson, finished runner-up at Augusta a couple of years ago. But overall, these stars are not playing well, and I think it's because they're obviously putting so much pressure on those major championships, because it's kind of everything for them right now, right? Because nobody cares if you win a live event.
Yeah.
But obviously winning a major championship would be huge, not to mention just it guarantees them status, which they're not sure if they're going to have anyway from being on the live tour.
Yeah, I mean, those wins are so important for those guys especially. And, I used to kind of be in the live camp a little bit, and, a lot of these guys probably just didn't really care that much about competing and got a lot of money, but you just see that a lot of these guys, they're not the same golfers that they were, and that's the lack of playing, like you said, very competitive golf, not week in and week out, but a lot of these guys would at least play a few tournaments a month just to keep everything up and going, and they're putting all their eggs into the major baskets, which in the game of golf, which is already insanely difficult, adding that extra pressure to a single tournament, it usually doesn't work too well.
Completely agree. And we'll see what happens moving forward, but I just, it's a shame because the tour is now building other stars, the PGA Tour, and a lot of these young guys like Cam Smith, John Rahm, Joaquin Niemann, they're kind of getting left in the dust now for, the Chris Goddards and these other kids that, are also very young, but I think they do have an advantage playing week in and week out on the PGA Tour.
Absolutely, and I think the PGA Tour needs to do everything they can in their power to somehow get Bryson DeChambeau to be on their weekends and on their broadcast because he is just such a draw right now. Keith, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll dive into the 3M tournament. We're on the line with Keith Fleming. You can follow him on Twitter/X. It's KEITHFLEMMING. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dan Patrick Show.
Pete Sampras didn't really have a personality. He was the focal point of men's tennis. Trout, boy, he's so great. Growing up, we didn't ask that of our celebrities. Times have changed. Now you got to sell a sport. This will sound like we're denigrating Scottie Scheffler, and we're not. Just stating the facts.
It's the Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Definite thunderstorms and light sprinkles the remainder of the day with a wind at 8 miles per hour out of the southeast and 90. Tonight, look for a variety of some clouds and likely thunderstorms with a temperature near 78. Tomorrow, a high around 86 and some sun in the morning, but otherwise definite thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red boils, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City. Sizzling hot weather is here. Time to go shopping in some nice air-conditioned surroundings. I know just the place, that boot store. Ooh, it's nice and cool in here with a scent of real leather. Sweet. The Western surroundings and huge name brand selections will make you want to buy 4 or 5 outfits for the whole family, from the smallest to the largest. And why not? Their prices are the best in the area. Open Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember, God is good all the time. That boot store next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Keith, before we dive into the 3M Championship up there in Twin Cities, at TPC Twin Cities in Minnesota. I want to get your opinion on who you would make as captain's picks right now. We talked a little bit earlier about Ryder Cup's about 2 months away, and of course the way the points work, you already got this. They take the top 6; those are automatic qualifiers. Right now, that would be Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, he's got a massive lead over Xander Schauffele, and then it's J.J. Spawn, Russell Henley. Bryson DeChambeau has played well enough in the majors to earn himself, as of now, if it were to end right now, an automatic qualifying spot into the Ryder Cup, despite being a Live Tour member. Number 6, Harris English. And then on the European side, you got McIlroy, McIntyre, Fleetwood, Hatton, Lowry, and Straka right now would be your automatic qualifiers. On the American side, Justin Thomas would be 7th. Colin Morikawa would be 8th. Ben Griffin, 9. Keegan Bradley, 10, who is also the captain. Maverick McNeely, 11th. And then Brian Harman at 12th. Who would you take as, if you were the American captain, put yourself in Keegan Bradley's shoes, would you pick yourself to play in this particular tournament? And who else would you bring if you indeed picked yourself?
Yeah, Keegan would be an automatic for me. I think they really need him. Ben Griffin would also be an automatic for me. Justin Thomas and Colin's the tough one, right? Like, I feel like that he has in many ways earned it, but I need him to show me something. And if I was Keegan, I would just flat out tell him that like, look, man, I just need some good finishes from you over the next 5 weeks, or I can't guarantee you're going to be on this squad. So that would, get to 10. And then for me, like, Harman, I think, is somebody they really should look long and hard at. My boy, Ashay Bhatia would be interesting. Goddard's the guy, though, that I think that if he continues to play well, Bethpage is such a long golf course. You're going to need some bombers and some firepower. And unfortunately, Finau is just not in good form this year. So, I would be looking at Goddard and stuff. But, I would, if I was Keegan, outside, those last 2 spots would really be for whoever is really hot going into the playoffs. Obviously, Patrick Cantley's the other guy that I think you kind of have to put on there because he was the only one that showed up in the last Ryder Cup, and his game is starting to trend in the right direction.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's kind of weird because you're picking guys that are playing really good golf, but then it's a completely different format than just playing in a 4-round stroke play event. So you got to kind of take a little bit of that stuff into consideration. I think that's where phone calls become very important, kind of seeing where guys' mindsets. But I agree with you. We may see a lot of new names on the Ryder Cup this year with guys like Goddard, Griffin. These guys have been playing so well. But does them being never playing in the Ryder Cup before come into any kind of play when captains are making these picks? I don't know.
The only thing is, though, right, Ryan, that it's not like most of the people that have like great experience or records. So, we've been getting our butt whooped. So,
absolutely.
I hear that all the time about the experience factor, and it's like, it definitely should be, at least part of the process, but it's not like we have anybody like a Terrell Hatton or something who is just, dominated in the Ryder Cup. And it would make so much more sense to have them on the squad. I still think Patrick Reed should be a strong consideration as well. I just think with his match play record and everything, you really should consider him.
Yeah, I mean, if Dustin Johnson played worth a crap right now in golf, he might not be a bad one to consider as well.
No, not at all.
Given his Ryder Cup record, not obviously how he's played.
Well, and again, the distance, and again, that's a golf course that it's very long, which is my only concern about. Like, obviously, it looks like Russell Henley is going to be an automatic. Same for Harris English, and they deserve it. That may mean, though, a guy like Brian Harmon or some of these other guys that don't have elite distance, you don't want to have too many of those players on a course that's so long.
Yep, absolutely. And Americans are typically known for, leaving the rough a little bit shorter and then making the greens uber fast compared to a European setup, which usually has long rough and slower greens.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Would not want to be in Keegan Bradley's shoes making these difficult decisions, because I think there's just so much more pressure on the American team than there is the European team to win a Ryder Cup, especially on your home soil.
Yeah, they're going to have a huge home soil advantage, though. I think that,
it's going to be awesome.
That's a big factor, and I do think that Keegan being the captain is going to inspire these guys, because Keegan cares a lot about it. Obviously, the situation that happened with them last time they had the Ryder Cup, I think they want to win for them. I don't know if you saw Luke Donald did accept the ability to where now if Keegan is a player and not just the captain, he can allow during his matches one of the other vice captains to fill in as captain, which allows them to do more stuff than the vice captains can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's huge, because you're basically putting your captain into one match each series of matches, so you're losing that ability to go around and talk to your players, help them out, all that stuff. But nonetheless, it's going to be an awesome Ryder Cup. The New York fans will show out in full force. Showing out in full force, the 3M Open field, not quite a big field, but sometimes these are the fields we like when we're doing our betting, our props, and our DFS. So let's dive in to the 3M, is it the 3M Open? Yes, the 3M Open up there at TPC Twin Cities in Minnesota.
Let me start by saying your boy can be a moron sometimes, and in my article on FantasySixPack.net, I said this is the regular season finale. It is not. We have the Wyndham Championship next week at Sedgefield Country Club.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is not the last event, but you're seeing, obviously, again, a weak field, but a lot of players on the bubble for getting into that top 75. There's 27 players in this field from 55 to 85 in the FedEx standings. So, basically everybody, right? Because they know that this is one of their last two chances to secure a spot in the FedEx playoffs, and that's a big deal because it gets you into signature events and all kinds of other things. Next year, this is the seventh time that this event has been played at TPC Twin Cities. Sort of a traditional, TPC golf course, and what I mean by that is you have a mixture of like short par fours, reachable par fives. They had the stadium par threes, which has really became a staple of these venues. This is a par 71 playing 7,400 yards. It's the ninth longest venue on tour, but ironically, despite being the ninth longest on tour, this is one of the easiest courses on tour to hit approaches from 150 yards and within. Real danger here, water danger that is. Third most water danger holes on tour, 13 of them. So you have water running throughout the course. And that's going to end up meaning that like bogey avoidance is a key factor, and also I think that distance is a key off the tee, but it's more about total driving, right? Because you can't just bomb it anywhere because you're going to end up in the drink a good bit, so you need some control off of it. I do think that the oversized greens here will play a big factor, and what I mean by that is that you're not going to see like strokes gain around the green really mean anything, because these guys are going to hit a lot of greens. It's not going to be scrambling as big of a deal. And that's going to put more emphasis on the approach game. And these are bent greens, so you want guys that obviously putt well on bent greens. I'm targeting players overall that they drive it well, total driving, avoid bogeys, play par fives really well, and again, putt good on bent greens. The only other thing I really looked at in my strokes gained or key stats this week is really their history at this course. It's like the 13th most predictive, so not, apples to apples. We've had several winners in the last couple of years that either had missed the cut or not played well the year before, but still a big deal. And then birdies are better gained is the other one. Some comp courses, I'm looking like PGA National.
Yeah.
To me, that is a course, right? A lot of water. Again, same thing for Sawgrass. So both of those are big ones. TPC Deer Run, Detroit Golf Club, etc. But for DFS this week, got her up at 10-2. Feels like an unbelievable value. You're getting, without a doubt, he's just 10,000, the best player right now on tour, and you're getting him in for 10K. And normally when you get a player like that, it is going to be, much more expensive to do that, right? Like we've seen, like with Scotty and these guys. But he is really playing well. Obviously, we know he finished third and first, but even before that, 21st at the John Deere, 26th at the Rocket Classic, finished 23rd at the U.S. Open. He is as hot as he can be. I really like Jake Knapp this week.
Yes.
He's 8,900
He's all
on
over my
DK.
betting card this week.
And he's somebody who is, not only 8,900 on DK, but 40-1 to win. I feel like that's a really good value. You're also getting him, at good top 5 odds. I believe he's like 6-1 to top 5 on DK Sportsbook. I will say this week, I only had on my betting cheat sheet just 5 plays to win and did a lot more top 5 picks. It's just like Chris Goddard. I would love to see him win this week. He's 18-1, right? Even Taylor Pendrith, 30-1. Knapp is now all the way down to 35-1 to win. I got him at 45. He's also 6-1 still to top 5. That is where I feel like the value is this week, is the top 5, top 10 odds, especially you look at somebody like Emiliano Grillo, who has played so well at this venue. He's playing well right now and in good form. You can get him at plus 850 to top 5 and 4-1 to top 10. I think that those are the kind of things you've got. Keith Mitchell, another guy with multiple good starts here. He's 9-1 to top 5 and plus 450 to top 10. Lee Hodges won this event before. He's 11-1 to top 5, 5-1 to top 10. Those are really I think the best values this week. And if you look at my betting cheat sheet, that's on fantasy6pack.net. A majority of my bets are actually top 5 and top 10 plays. But for an official DK lineup this week, I am going to end up going with Jake Knapp and Taylor Pendrith anchoring this lineup. I like Goddard, and he's in my other really expensive lineup this week. But, again, Knapp's in great form. Well, so is Pendrith. Pendrith has been playing very well. Don't pay attention to the Open finish because he doesn't historically play well in that anyway. But, 25th at the Travelers, 27th at the Canadian Open. And if you go back to earlier this season, he finished 38th at the Players, which, again, that's a comp course. He hits it a mile off the tee, plays par 5s very well. That's a really good value. Keith Mitchell, again, has a great record at this event. He's in the lineup as well at 8,600. I don't love that his last 3 starts were arguably his 3 worst on the season, but he did make the cut at the Cognizant. And he's just got the firepower, right? He's somebody that's long and straight off the tee. Again, plays par 5s very well. He's top 20 in bogey avoidance and birdie or better percentage. So I feel like he's a real value at 8,600. Next up, Cam Champ, man, who has finished 12th or better the last 3 times he's played this venue. And he's another guy that is, take away his last event, which was a miscut. The previous 4, 14th at the ISCO Championship, 27th at the John Deere, 19th at the Rocket Classic, 9th at the Canadian Open. He obviously feels very comfortable in this course, so love that. The 5th player in my lineup, Alex Smalley, 7,800. A guy that I was really nice to see him bounce back and play well at the Scottish Open. He had a little rough spell at the Rocket Classic and the John Deere. But what I love about him, we said the 2 courses, right, that they played this year, the Cognizant and the Players. He finished 18th at the Cognizant, 14th at the Players. So obviously he is very comfortable playing, some of these difficult courses. Smalley is somebody who fits the bill, man. Like, he's top 20 in par 5 and par 4 scoring. He's top 20 in birdie or better percentage and bogey avoidance. I think he's a really safe play. And then rounding out the lineup, I have in this lineup Taylor Moore. I couldn't quite fit Lee Hodges in there, who I wanted to. But Moore is somebody who has had a couple of good starts at this event. He made the cut at both the Cognizant and the Players 33rd and 42nd. He is somebody that just bombs it off the tee and is a good putter on bent greens. And that's a really good formula. And Moore is, again, one of these guys that not only does he hit it far off the tee, he hits it straight. If you're just looking for some other values this week, I think that, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Haotong Lee from China. You know, he got into this field because of his great finish at the Open Championship. He is a ball striker. I think, what, he go like almost 54 holes this weekend without missing a green in regulation.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
That's gonna fit very well. Again, Grillo 8,400, I feel like, is a great value. But to me, the best value on the board this week is Lee Hodges. So again, he missed the cut here. I understand that last year. His previous 2 starts at this event were a win and a 15th place finish. So he is not. Obviously feels very comfortable at this event. And he's another guy that don't look at, his last 2 starts. Look at the previous ones. 21st John Deere, 9th at the Canadian Open. I think this course fits him very well. Obviously, he has a success here, and I think that he's going to be in contention. Aiden Springer at 7K is the other guy that, what I love is he's made the cut in 14 to 16. That's a huge deal. He finished 40th at the Players Championship, and you're getting him for 7K. So I feel like if you put those guys in your lineup, and with Goddard only being 10K, I think that's a good deal. Do you have Sam Burns in any of your lineups? Because I didn't get there, but I figure since I'm off of him and I've been on him so much lately, he's probably going to win the event. Yeah.
No, some of the different guys I had were Christian Buzenhout, however we say it.
Great play. Yep.
Luke Clanton and Gary Woodland, because I've got Goddard, Knapp, and Grillo as well, and then I just kind of moved them around a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. And again, I think that Grillo at 8,400, just very safe. And, you got any other bets to win you really like this week, or prop bets? I didn't get to pick your brain last night.
Yeah, I know. Here we are approaching the end of the golf season. But the good news is we're approaching the start of the college football season. I was kind of on the same wavelength as you. I've got Jake Knapp, winner, top 5, top 10, and then I didn't do top 20 just because the value was so low. But I did bet Chris Goddard top 20 at plus 165, and obviously
I like that.
Went with a lot more than a normal unit bet. Went with a few units on that one because I feel pretty good about that. Keith, we have ran out of time. A fun couple segments as always. If people want to find out your cheat sheets, all your article information, all they got to do is go to fantasy6pack.net, and of course they can follow you on Twitter/X, KEITHFLEMMING, and I can tell you from personal experience, he will respond to all your questions and give you as much help as possible, because if you win, he also wins as well. Keith, we appreciate your time and look forward to getting back to normal next week.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to use that promo code S6PPGA if you want to sign up to get all my cheat sheets and access to our Discord, etc. It's well worth the $8.50 a month with that promo code.
Yes, you will win that back and then more just by following some simple information. Keith Fleming, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back for our final segment of this Wednesday coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Scotty Scheffler doesn't intimidate other golfers. He just beats them. Tiger was MJ or Mike Tyson in his prime. Scheffler's more Tim Duncan. Tiger made you feel like you wanted to go out. He had so much alpha, and you wanted to go to the driving range. Scotty Scheffler, he's a little bit of a buzzkill.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Don't just stand there. Everything you need to turn $1 into an epic win is in your hand. Hard Rock Bet. Bet it, parlay it, boost it. However you want to do it. From wherever you are to the moon. Bet anytime a line, prop, or parlay catches your eye. And withdraw cash when you want it. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. New players bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Now back to the Inside Drive. Live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Still talking about last night? We're already breaking down tomorrow. The Inside Drive. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm going to continue with my new final segment format on Wednesdays because we don't get to do the Afternoon Delight Debrief at noon, so we do the Afternoon Delight Debrief in the final segment. Quick update on the Atlanta Braves Giants third game of the series. The top of the fifth was a little bit tough one there for Spencer Strider, who is now officially over 100 pitches in just 5 innings pitched, but gave up, I believe, James, you said he gave up a home run, then hit a guy, and then gave up another home run.
Yep, home run to Rafael Devers. Willie Adames hit by a pitch, and Chapman takes it to the yard, so that makes it 3-0.
3-0, and the Atlanta Braves are in a hole here in the middle of the fifth, but maybe they can get the bats going, which seems to be what the struggle has certainly been here the rest of the way. Again, that game is underway, started at 11:15 here in our time zone. They are off tomorrow, and then they have a 3-game series against I had it up before. Is the Tigers or the...
Coming up next, it is the Rangers.
That's right, down there in Texas.
And the Royals after that.
Yes, so 3-game series coming up this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They do not have a game tomorrow. Obviously, the night games will be right here on ESPN at Northwest Florida, as we are your home for the Atlanta Braves right here on the Gulf Coast. We appreciate Bestway Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control for bringing you the Atlanta Braves. All right, I'm going to do a couple Afternoon Delight debriefs to end the show today. Great stuff there from Keith Fleming. I encourage you to check out fantasysixpack.net. His betting sheets, his articles, they'll lead you in the right direction if you want to win some money. That $8.50 a month using code FSP will certainly be worth it. These are some athletes that have nearly the exact same build based on height and weight, but play different sports. We'll start with Aaron Judge, who is 6'7", 282, and his comparison is Zion Williamson for the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, he's been hurt quite a bit, hadn't played that much. He is 6'6", 284. So Judge is actually a little bit taller, but a few pounds lighter. Paul Skeens, 6'6", 260. No wonder why he can throw the ball a million miles an hour. And his comparison, Aiden Hutchinson, 6'7", 268. So Paul Skeens, almost the same size as Aiden Hutchinson. Pretty crazy stuff to think about it from that perspective of how different. Hockey, and this one's wild. I would have never thought this one. Alex Ovechkin, who is 6'3", 238. That's a big guy on the ice, compared to Micah Parsons, who is 6'3", 245. So Ovechkin only giving up 7 pounds to Micah Parsons at the same height. That's pretty crazy thinking about Micah Parsons and skating around on the ice and about to put you in. And also the leading goal scorer of all time there.
You want to see a great video sometime, look up the Micah Parsons video of him trying to do sumo wrestling with, like, professional Japanese sumo wrestlers.
I'll have to
He
check
does
that out.
not move those gentlemen an inch.
At all. Those guys are tough. That's for sure. All right, Giancarlo Stanton and Justin Herbert, both 6'6". Stanton has got Herbert by 9 pounds. Stanton's 245, Justin Herbert 236. Easy to see over that offensive line when you're 6'6". Makes it a little easier to find your targets across the middle there. Next, you got Luka Doncic and Josh Allen. Luka Doncic, 6'6", 230. Josh Allen, 6'5", 237. Kind of some wild comparisons there. All right, next, you've got Kyler Murray and Sidney Crosby. Kyler Murray, 5'10", 207. Sidney Crosby, 5'11", 200 pounds.
Not a big dude?
No, not a big dude at all, especially compared to Alex Ovechkin. Lamar Jackson and Bryce Harper. Lamar Jackson, 6'2", 205. Bryce Harper, 6'2", 210. It's kind of the past. I don't know. This is really interesting to me. So when I found this one, I got excited. Another comparison: you got Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, and Jameis Winston. Ant-Man 6'4", 225, but can jump out of an arena, and then Jameis Winston 6'4", 230. That one certainly a little surprising. Donovan Mitchell and Shohei Ohtani. Donovan Mitchell 6'3", 215. Shohei Ohtani 6'3", 210. For the pitcher / slugger there in major leagues. Next, you got Jose Altuve and Deuce Vaughn. This is a funny one. Jose Altuve, 5'6", 167. Deuce Vaughn, 5'6", 176. So it just goes to show you, even if you're under the average male height, you may still be able to make it to that best professional sport, or to the best level in that particular sport.
I really thought you were going to give me a jockey to go with Altuve.
Ah, yes. The jockeys are probably shorter than Altuve, but maybe there's some that are up there in that 5'6". I know they try to be right around 5 foot, but they ended that particular exercise with the short guys that were in comparison. Pretty crazy what Deuce Vaughn's been able to do in the NFL in his second year, I think, coming up, if I'm not mistaken, which I have a tendency to be. This is kind of a sad story if you're the guy. It's not sad for us, but I don't know if y'all remember the story about James Howe. He was the guy that lost the passwords for that hard drive to pick up his Bitcoin that he bought a bunch of when he first got going. But James Howe officially called it quits on his insane decade-long hunt for a hard drive with 8,000 Bitcoins worth over $500 million. After years of battling city councils to dig up a landfill, he had finally admitted defeat, proving that one careless toss can cost you generational wealth that you'll never get back. James Howe started mining Bitcoin in 2009 when the cryptocurrency was nearly worthless, collecting thousands of coins with an ordinary laptop. A cleaning mistake in 2013 led to an accidental disposal of a hard drive containing private keys to those coins, now lost in Newport, Wales landfill beneath thousands of tons of waste. Despite years of legal action and offers to share potential proceeds, city officials consistently blocked excavation due to environmental concerns.
Womp womp.
Womp womp indeed, as the kids say. That is the biggest womp womp there is. Knowing you have, quote unquote, $500 million in your possession, and now it's sitting in a landfill in London. Surprised there's not other people I'm sure there is, trying to sneak into the landfill.
Oh, there's all kinds of people going in there with shovels and pickaxes and whatever else they can carry on in there.
Quote unquote treasure hunters, so to speak.
Because you know where it is.
Yeah.
You know it's located
in there somewhere.
In this area. It's just how much refuse are you willing to dig on through?
That's it. Always back up your information. Put it to the cloud. Put it wherever you can get it without.
I don't know if I'd want to put my keys on a cloud.
Well, he'd probably be able to find it now. I guess that would have been a lot easier to hack into, though, for other people. kind of a nice story that came out of the historic floods over there in Texas just a short few weeks ago. This is a story about a guardian angel on 4 legs, the mystery dog that saved a lost 3-year-old in Texas floods. Everyone thought she was gone. Just hours before the historic floods ravaged a rural Texas town, a 3-year-old girl vanished, triggering a desperate high-stakes search across the rain-soaked field. Rising creeks and broken homes. As the storm worsened and the daylight faded, hope was slipping away. Then came a miracle. Rescuers found her hours later, mud-covered, shivering, and curled beneath a collapsed shed miles from home. But she was alive. But she wasn't alone. Nestled beside her was a soaking wet, trembling dog, a dog no one recognized. It didn't belong to her family. It wasn't a neighbor's. No one knew where it came from. But what it did in those terrifying hours is now being called an act of pure instinct and loyalty. Emergency crews said the mysterious dog never left the girl's side. It shielded her from wind and cold. It stayed close through the storm and even guided her to a shelter with paw prints in the muds, showing how it nudged her under. The only structure still standing. We believe this dog saved her life, one rescuer said through tears. Photos of the moment, a tiny girl resting on the dog's soaked fur, blinking in the flashlights of her rescuers, have gone viral, touching hearts around the world. And the twist? It wasn't even her dog. No one knows where the dog came from, but the town is calling it a guardian angel with paws, a protector who showed up at the exact right moment and refused to leave until she was safe. Today, the little girl is recovering at home, and the town is rallying to adopt the historic stray, but many believe it's clear who the dog has already chosen. Some stories don't need words. This one needed 4 legs, a storm, and a heart that wouldn't give up. Little positive momentum keeping us going on this Wednesday afternoon. Good stuff. Dogs are certainly loyal protectors, but obviously the instincts currently kicked in on that guardian angel dog, as it was dubbed. Probably the last one on this Wednesday afternoon. This is an interesting story. WD-40 has never been patented intentionally, so its exact formula stays secret, making it nearly impossible to legally copy. Unlike many commercial products, WD-40 has never patented. This wasn't an oversight, it was a strategic decision. By skipping a patent, the creators ensured the formula wouldn't be made public. Patents require full disclosure of ingredients and processes. Once they expire, competitors are free to duplicate the product. WD-40's makers chose long-term secrecy over temporary legal protection. This approach has worked for decades. Though the product hit the market in 1958, its exact contents remained largely unknown. While some companies use petroleum-based solvents are speculated, the full formation is locked in a vault at company headquarters. The decision also helped WD-40 develop a kind of mystique. Its versatility, from loosening bolts to stop and squeeze to displacing moisture, is widely praised. Yet its recipe remains out of reach. This kind of secrecy is rare in the chemical product industry, where patents are the norm. The formula has been tested, reverse engineered, and analyzed over the years, but no copy has gained the same traction. With no patent to read and no requirements to disclose more than the minimum for safety labeling, WD-40 remains one of the best kept trade secrets in consumer goods. I guess if you can't reverse engineer a product, you don't necessarily have to get the patent, because that's how most people find out what's in it, is by reverse engineering it.
Well, that's how you figure out like all those secret sauces and whatnot.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's how you figure out recipes and all that good stuff. We got a good show coming up tomorrow. Coach Brian Haddad will be in studio with us. I'm excited for Friday. Jake Finch will be joining Jay Henley and I. We appreciate you hanging out on this Wednesday. Believe the Braves are still losing, coming up at 4, the afternoon underdogs. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday afternoon. Stay dry out there.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.